The game starts. Starting to the top right is our Zerg player who is currently in a 1-0 lead over his opponent. For FXO we have a Sirius, and well, he could definitely be playing the macro game here. We've seen Roach Baneling on this map, not necessarily the best strategy with the distance between the two maps. Here we have MMA, who starts to the bottom left for Slayers.
And what's the game plan now? MMA down a game. Slayers players struggling right now in a lot of situations. I feel like obviously MMA is a big fan favorite. He's been known for a long time. Sirius is just having his run back in Code A. But MMA does not want to play those up and downs. Nobody does. The up and down group this year for the next season is going to be... I can't even imagine. There's so many good players in there, not only from coming up from Code A, but the players who fell out of Code S. There may even be seeds that haven't been announced yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tightly packed group.
The up and downs are definitely going to be so tough to play. It was never easy, but this season in particular, as you already said, this is something where you don't want to play the up and downs. You want to get into Code S right away.
The up and down group is basically a Code S group itself.
Yeah.
You have to like go through a Code S group before you're in Code S. I don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that.
It's even more difficult because you don't only play 3 other opponents, but you might end up facing 5
other players.
Yeah.
Of all different races, so many different matchups. It's very different. It's like an arena.
The opponent of whoever is going to win this best of 3 is going to be Sniper, who won earlier against Keen with a 2-0. And now we have Sirius once again with the gas. Going for the gas right away, even before he starts his pool.
Yeah, very aggressive gas again. I want to keep track of that, see if he pulls out.
That's of course going to be the big question here. Is Sirius going to be aggressive against his opponent again, or will he now just try to play a bit more of a macro game? Over the gas this fast, he could definitely turn up the heat. Not only go for a Roach attack once again, but if you go for Roach Baneling, for example, this can do so much. Even if you only go for Zerglings and Banelings, this is something that a lot of players don't account for anymore. MMA has to be careful here. Is he shaken by the loss in the first game, or will he just now fall back into the MMA mode and make sure that he forces the 3rd game? We'll see soon enough. Gas now roughly 80 for Sirius. Let's see if he pulls out after he reaches the gas for his speed.
Yep, he's pulling out. There's 2 harvesters out, and may even pull the 3rd one out. Just a second. No, even leaving 1 in is fine though. He's going to leave the 1 in for now.
This still enables him to execute a Roach Baneling push.
Yes.
You don't have to immediately to mine after you get behind the speed. And the speed this time is pretty fast. We have 2 queens. I'm really interested what Sirius is going to do. I feel like he's really well prepared for this match. And you could see that the build on the Twin Valley was perfect. It was executed to do not much damage in the early game. He knows MMA style, and he played his opponent. It was really well done, and I like that we've seen such a build. But now the question, of course, remains, what is he going to do on this map? I feel like he's going to be the aggressor.
Yeah, well, you know, something to think about is that he did not know about the command center first until after he already started speed. Then he saw the barracks at the ramp and he was like, oh, that's too late, it's command center first. So he didn't know, so he wasn't able to like make that choice. So if he pulls out with the speed, it's a choice you normally make to be safe. But if you're facing command center first, you're not facing that high pressure as fast. He still only got 1 harvester and gas, so it looks like he wanted to get the speed to be safe. But at the end of the day, it wasn't necessary.
He takes his 3rd here, whereas MMA is already nearly done with his 3rd command center.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of risks here. But Sirius is just playing safe, so MMA is going to get really ahead as a result.
Yeah. In terms of economy, MMA will have a really good starting point here. We don't see any additional structures for his opponent just yet. Sirius is going for this 3rd base. He's getting additional gas. He put drones back into the extractor that he has. His drone count right now is 34. And if he wanted to execute an attack with Banelings and Roaches, he would have started by now.
Yeah, and 6 more drones started.
Exactly. He goes over the 35 to 38 harvesters that you usually have when you go for a Roach Baneling attack. You can't even execute it with a 3rd base. The 3rd base itself is usually an indicator that you don't see a push like it, but not necessarily. You can ask Zero Shin. He has like 5 different versions of a Roach Baneling on it.
Well, the Evolution Chambers put the seal on the envelope saying we are going to mail this off into a later game because there's no reason to have those. Oh, look at that. Picks up an SCV and gets the Ling out. Whoa, that Ling was brave. That Ling was like the character in the cartoon show that you knew wasn't going to die in the end.
Yeah.
Because the show would have to go on until the end of the season. But there was now he's making 16 Lings and a Baneling nest, but this is just purely defensively, as he knows MMA is starting to get enough units out to where he could start to put some pressure on.
We have +1/+1 coming up for both players. MMA with really fast upgrades here, which I like quite a bit. So he's now just trying to get a bit ahead in his bio upgrades over his opponent. But exactly, with the Baneling nest here, he can defend. He has a good creep spread. He should spread his creep as a 4th, more aggressive. But he could also go for lifestyle and just be really aggressive with his Lings and Banelings. He still can put on aggression onto MMA.
Yeah.
Especially if he's able to pick up the Hellions. That would be awesome.
He's trying really hard. There's only one Hellion here, so the Hellion can't turn around. Nice control by MMA. Oh, wow.
Oh, that was close.
He's got a long way to go now. Now he's going to creep, so he's going to lose it. Well,
yeah. Maybe.
He's going to lose it. He just didn't lose it as fast as I thought he would.
Yeah, in the end, he's going to lose it. Letek has been started. And we have for MMA also his armory now coming up, an additional barracks so that he can get out the Marines a little bit faster. The third base is not on the low ground, so he's still just happy with keeping the orbital command on the high ground, using it for additional SCVs and fuels. Whereas Sirius is falling into a very heavy macro mode with additional harvesters, only having a few circlings here to defend, but also the additional queens getting a massive amount of gas now.
Yeah, he's kind of, I feel like he's not cutting any corners, but he's just going at full speed ahead with his build. He's making enough Lings to control the map and keep those Hellions down. His creep spread is phenomenal for that reason. Yeah, as you mentioned, he hasn't connected his third base yet, but as far as going forward in the map, it's really, really far out there at this point.
I love the upgrades for MMA though. He's really paying attention to the upgrades, and if he can hit a good timing here. If you look at how Sirius plays it, he has not this huge drone count that you would expect with him maybe getting a 4th base, but instead he's building a lot more Zerglings than I would have assumed, especially since he has a macro hatch. So with the lava that he has available, he should be able to get a lot of drones in the picture, even take a 4th base then with the Zerglings that are backing things up. But he wants to head into this late game stage where he can use the Brood Lords. A bit of pressure with the Zerglings, but not too much. We shut down fast enough.
Yeah, he takes out a Marine, almost not going to see, but it just forced a little bit of mind him off, but it keeps MMA off his back. He's trying to keep MMA away from his 3rd base for as long as possible. He can get that Spire up, get that Baneling speed. His 2-2's coming out. Sirius in a pretty good position. The one thing that MMA has going for him, well, I guess he's got really 2 things now. He's got the 2-2 upgrades, but his 3rd base is secure.
MMA is actually slightly ahead in supply. His upgrades are awesome. He's going for the siege tanks. Now, I really like the position MMA is in. As long as he starts to pressure a little bit, everything is okay.
Yeah, see how successful he can make this pressure. He's got 3 Marines that could try to clear up some tumors on the right side while he moves on the left side. He waits too long, though. He's going to lose those. And you guys didn't see it, but he lost those Marines on the right side. It's not cleared immediately.
MMA, taking on Overload, is moving up to the top and takes nice focus on the first few Banelings and a good scan ahead, making sure that he's not running into any trouble. But now he can just try to catch those Banelings and maybe even the Zerglings. 12 meters get into Sirius.
Well, he's coming here. I thought he might go for a flank. Instead, he wants to go for a run-by, but it's not going to be effective. He's actually going to be pretty inefficient.
Yeah.
Losing a lot of Lings from nothing.
MMA has a very good position, but this mid-game pressure by Sirius is going to be quite hard to deal with. I have to say that I think that MMA is set up.
Well, this is not a good attack at all.
Yeah, not at all. MMA is set up well, and he can certainly defend against it. Do we have missile turrets in the main base? I actually didn't check.
I think he's got 1. I want to verify. No, actually, he's got none. He just now starts now. There are 13 meters.
Yeah, with the meters could be a problem, but MMA is now killing queens. He will see, of course, now. Yeah, now the meters are being revealed. He sees them. Missile turrets are being started.
He's going to have to use his meters at home because of this pressure. Actually, a nice escape here by MMA. Not staying on the for a second too long. He's Sirius got a ton of units here, though, and MMA actually will not be able to fight these with all these links here. This may be a mistake sticking around this long. I thought he was going to go home.
He doesn't have enough Marines, this is his problem. Yes, the Muralist he definitely needs more. It's nice targeting that he's showing us here, but he does not have...
Nice, he loses 2 medevacs, 3 medevacs as well.
This is getting a little bit
This is really
ugly.
scary. What if Sirius just makes a ton of links, he's making 16 right now, and goes for an attack? He's going to be hard-pressed to hold that. Detonating the banelings, though, on those siege tanks, not a very ideal trade at all.
As long as MMA controls the choke points and is sieged up when Sirius starts to attack, it's going to be fine. I love the Thor that comes out really fast for MMA to deal with the Mutalisk. He doesn't hesitate to build it. A lot of Terran players are a bit reluctant to spend all this much gas and minerals onto Thor and try to pull it off with Marines and start losing too many medevacs, too many siege tanks, not though MMA. And
he's getting +3 armor.
Yes.
First, before attack, and Sirius has not even started 3-3 yet, of course, because he doesn't have the tech required. The Viking is very annoying still to the north. Is actually going to pick off another Overlord, looks like.
You know, with those upgrades, if MMA holds until he has this upgrade advantage and pushes out, it's going to be very tough for Sirius to stop him. 3-3 upgraded Marines are insane. Especially, of course, with the Medivacs.
It's actually quite crazy that this fight is only 3 kills per and just finally shut it down.
It certainly paid off. Supply blocked Sirius, and Sirius is now getting his pathogen lands and his tech to Hive, but you can see how far behind his 3-3 upgrades will be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the fungal attack negates upgrades, but it's a situation where in the overall scheme of the battle, MMA is just going to be able to do so much more with a little bit less. Even though he's down in supply, he's got the better units.
The 4th base also.
These Mutas are not combat units. They're not going to be able to really fight. They can pick off siege tanks, they can try to harass a little bit, but when MMA runs through with that many Marines, if he splits them well, dodges those fungals, he's got the medevac count that's starting to get a little bit higher, he's up to 6 now. That's going to be a pretty big deal having that many upgrades. And not only is he having them ahead of his opponent for like maybe 1 fight, but he's going to have them all ahead for a long time.
Nice save here by MMA. I really like it. The Mutalists have died, but so many of them are now on low HP. Can he save them in the main base though? That's more the question.
This is a concern. There's so many Mutas here. He does not even... I'm so proud of Sirius for just... He's not even tempted to stay around too long. He's like, well, as long as I don't lose these, it's fine. 1 reactor for 1 Muta, that's okay. Otherwise, I'm not trading. That was really impressive.
But to be honest with you, he didn't really do a lot of damage. I liked it from both. Sirius has a nice Mutalist control, but MMA has a very good defense. Usually, as a Zerg, you always try to get into a position where your opponent is forced to defend at 1 point, and then you just fly, using a low high ground situation into the main or to the natural, and then you start attacking buildings and harvesters. But he wasn't able to do this. And now this Thor is getting additional shots on at the Mutalists who are heading straight to the 3rd to assist those Zerglings.
Yeah, this is a big concern, and now he's got to get these SCVs out of here. We'll lose his command center if it's targeted.
Oh wow, the SCVs, all of them died. The nice bailing hit, and Burrowbank takes down the Marines here. The the command center is being killed as well. This was a big win for Sirius just now.
It may even be game ending. He still has the 4th over here, but there's no turrets. The Mutas can actually just come in here and take out siege tanks for free. He needs to react with those Marines. Oh, really nice micro by Sirius. Oh, more tanks are going to fall here as well.
He's like a surgeon right now, cutting into MMA's defenses. This is so precise.
He just bounces between 1 point of harassment to another.
That's exactly what we just talked about a few minutes ago. This is exactly the situation, but this time MMA at least had a few units in the main base and revenged the rest of his ground units by taking down a few of the Mutalists. There's still 9 left though, and the Harvester count now suddenly is 14 to 86.
Yeah, that is a massive deficit. If you look at the income tab, it's actually twice as much per minute for Sirius, and that's even including 2 mules being on the field at this moment in time.
Sirius took down 47 SCVs, especially with this attack at the 3rd base. He was able to kill so many of them. And now, yeah, 3-3 for MMA is done, but he suddenly just doesn't have this backup anymore.
Yeah. He's used to this hitter, like all of them. But,
that was a little bit sloppy for him. But it's not like he can't afford it.
Exactly. And now he's losing Harvester by the space over here. He can't afford to be sloppy in 3 places at once.
Yeah.
This is not a good trade either. The 3-3 upgrade's really showing through there. And MMA is actually ripping his way into a supply lead. There are Broodlords on the map.
Takes out 2 Infestors. Whoa, Sirius, what just happened?
Sirius is actually falling down the stairs right now.
Yeah, it's certainly. I mean, he was in this awesome position and suddenly looked like he tripped and hit a wall.
He's got 4,000 minerals in the bank. He's having to spend a lot of those on drones to rebuild because he's lost so many. MMA is actually like a machine right now. He's everywhere.
It's like MMA is suddenly becoming serious.
It's like he's turned on the gas. I don't know.
There comes another Maverick headed to the main base while the middle of the map is now being attacked by MMA. He has to face the Broodlords now though, and this is going to be tough. Are there enough infestors for a few funnels? Can he get close enough with the siege tanks sticking around? The drop to the top right is now being executed, and there's not a lot to defend. If he actually uses the Marines with his skin, he could take down the pool, at least the pool.
He's going to go for Queen first, and
yeah. Links on the end time. Sirius sees it.
MMA is not done. He's going to try to push this creep back again. He needs to drop a scan. He's got the base at the 3rd, remade, and reestablished over there. He has fought his way back into this game valiantly. He still has no Vikings. He's nearing max, but he starts filing the Viking production as well as muscle wall.
But Sirius is really reluctant to give him time. He's eager to move across the map to close the distance between the 2 armies in order to fight with the advantage that he has. And this is what he's trying. He's using the high ground situation here in order to shield the Broodlords, even using boost fuses. And there are the Infestors. They try to get the bundles of a good bundle, making sure that the Infestor doesn't die immediately to the siege tanks. Even though the Marines now dart in, there are just not enough of them.
Way too many Broodlings. He can't quite close the distance. Even with only 1 Infestor in that engagement, he got 2 bundles off. It was enough. Now the 2 extra Infestors join the battle, and MMA has to live his 3rd again. I think that he may find himself in the up and down matches. There's not much he's got left to do in this game. Even a Burrowed Zerling blocking his 3rd from landing again.
The 4th died, the 3rd has been lifted.
So many SCVs will go down here as well.
There are still 9 Broodlords and only 28 Marines, but the good funnel once again making sure that the Marines don't close the distance, are not in range of the Broodlords, but the well, the other way around. The Broodlings are now killing everything here, ripping this army apart.
Oh yeah, they now have a 73 supply. GG.
Sirius advances to the 3rd round of Code A, is going to face Sniper in the 3rd round. Either Sniper or Sirius is going to advance to Code S, and MMA, he finds himself in the up and downs.
And we find ourselves in the up and down time period between the afternoon session and the evening session. So let's take a look at those matches that we are going to see later on today. Pop them up on screen. First of all, we're starting out with Sparta, who is the Nest T killer, up against SOS from Woongjan Stars. Then we'll have STX Bogus, Hidden Bomber.
And then Trap against Supernova. And last but not least, Boong Boong against Gloomy Hole.
Yep, so a crazy awesome lineup of matches tonight. We already saw Flash early this morning, but that's not even the whole story. So make sure you tell your friends to tune in. We're going to be going live in about 2 hours and 20 minutes, so see you guys then.